All right, so I am doing a full moon in Gemini reading for the collective. I'm working with a spread that I created that will be included in the ritual guide that I'll be posting today. And I already drew the cards as I was coming in, and I drew a couple themes for the full moon peaks this evening. Let me look at the time. It's at 3:14 Pacific Coast time. So kind of depending on where you are in the world. So later this afternoon, later this evening. And it's a supermoon. So it's a really big energy that we're working with. And yeah, there's all these beautiful aspects. I was kind of catching up on the astrology of this full moon. It's aspecting the nodes of fate, and it's creating a grand cross, which it's when four planets are at the same degrees, creating a cross in the sky, symbolizing a crossroads. So we're kind of at this choice point, and it's also opposite Venus. So there's a lot coming up. I was really feeling into this week around communication, relational dynamics, even our own thought forms, our own narratives, our own stories, our own relationship with ourselves, our own patterns and cycles. So I want to dive into the reading. Our themes for this full moon are boundaries from the living altar, and then the Knight of Pentacles, which are both very grounded energies. These are very earthy energies. And while Gemini is an air sign, and there can be this like fast-paced energy with Gemini. Everything can be moving at like the speed of light. It's ruled by Mercury. There's also this aspect of like Mercury just stationed direct and is in its shadow period, but we're starting to get that information of what that was for us, like what occurred during Mercury retrograde, and Saturn also stationed direct at the same time. So I feel like there's this like concrete information that we're now getting to integrate through this full moon, through the illumination of the spotlight of, the full moon illuminating the shadows or illuminating things that we haven't been able to see before. And the Knight of Pentacles is about slow movement forward. It truly is about aligned action, right action, but in a way that is in our integrity. It's in our value system. The card of boundaries, really, this is very self-explanatory, but there may have been information that you've received over the last lunar cycle around like, okay, I have to really evolve my own boundaries within myself in order to be in my well-being, in healthy relationships, in healthy dynamics. This could even be with work or other aspects of your life. But our boundaries are really spotlighted through this full moon. And we're really being asked to make new choices. Sometimes those choices, when we're at those crossroads, are very external, where there's some sort of external choice that you are being asked to choose between like two different pathways or multiple different pathways. But sometimes those choices can be very internal, where we're choosing a new habit or a new way of being or a new perspective. So I see, despite kind of like the big, expansive energy through this full moon, I see it quite a grounded energy that we're being asked to root into. I drew a couple cards around like what's coming up to be healed? Like, where is our healing through this full moon? I drew Ancestor and the Three of Cups. So something I've been sensing about this full moon is that it's expanding beyond this lifetime, that there's this multidimensionality to this full moon that the healing we do at this time ripples. It ripples through multiple realms, backwards and forwards, not only to your ancestors, but to your descendants. And the patterns and the cycles that we're closing at this time may be deeply ancestral. The Three of Cups is community, it is connection. We're really being asked to shatter illusions around isolation or self isolation. We cannot heal in isolation. There is a time of solitude, there are times of pulling back. I think about the Hermit card where there are times where we need to really protect our energy and honor our space. But, there needs to be times where we reach for community, we reach for connection, and we heal in community. So the Three of Cups I see as our friendships, our chosen family, our connections in our life. And the Three of Cups brings celebration, it brings joy, it brings, that sweetness. So I really see, and this maybe even be like you with your spirits. Maybe this is like a celebration that you have with your spirits. And I think something about this full moon is asking us to lead with curiosity, to lead with levity where possible. It's asking us to bring in fun. Things have been really heavy astrologically, collectively, and we're being asked to open space to experience joy where it is possible, despite maybe other things that are happening, or we're in the northern hemisphere, we're moving towards winter solstice, which can be a time where we are processing past grief and kind of the heaviness on the heart. But I really do sense that there's a call to action to be in connection through this full moon. And I drew cards. I'm going to go through the spread that I created. So I pulled 4 cards. The first card is what cycles and patterns are closing through this full moon. Interestingly enough, I drew the King of Wands, which when I think about this in the realm of like cycles and patterns, I think about this in like the ways we possibly dim our fire, or we prevent our internal fire from being expressed. A couple different ways we can look at this is like this represents our creativity and our creative action. This can also represent, I think about fire being the expression of sacred rage. And so, I keep hearing the word burnout, like burning out, or like where is there imbalance in your relationship to fire? Where is there an imbalance or like a suppression of your fire? Where are you not feeling your fire or scared of your fire? And the knight or the King of Wands is in, right relationship with this energy. So I think of it as the most matured, evolved, highest expression of this element. And yeah, I feel like this energy, this archetype is very much about being in a sense of passion and an expression of passion, that there's a healthy relationship with sacred rage or anger. Um, and there's a creative relationship here. And so I see there may be patterns or cycles around expression or blocking your own expression, or being scared of your expression, or preventing your expression and your voice from coming through. Where is there a choice point or a crossroads? Page of Wands. So we have the King of Wands and the Page of Wands. So there's a lot around this element of fire. the sun is in Sagittarius, which is this like expansive, elevated, adventurous form of fire. And the Page of Wands I see is representing the younger selves. And so there may be an internal crossroads of choosing, the expression of your younger self, the inner child, choosing a dream, making a choice of, and what I am hearing is like there's no wrong choice in this. There's just possibilities, like there's no wrong choice. So I am really hearing that we should release fear around making the wrong choice, or being scared to make the wrong choice. Um, and so I see this as like where you're being asked to choose yourself, and where you're being asked to choose the the dream of the younger self or the dream of the inner child. I keep hearing the word like playfulness, like it's a time to call in playfulness and yeah, like curiosity, and see this as an adventure, see this choice point and this crossroads, even if you're not being presented with external choices at this time. They're like, I'm really hearing the cards say, like, play with it, like, play with like possibility. So we have all this beautiful, yeah, fire expression. And what represents the most destined path at this time? The Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles is our sovereignty, it is our autonomy, it is our agency. It's also this like sacred earth, like of being in our sacred space, in our sacred garden, metaphorically. Um, this could even be you tending and building a business. This could be you tending your work. On an emotional level, this is that security, that stability that then translates to the home, finances, a sense of, deep rootedness. This can be a sense of deep belonging. And I really see this card as representing the harmony of being in right relationship with the earth and, you know, um, the ecosystems around you. So really beautiful energy that we're really being asked to strive for through this full moon and to vision through this full moon. I feel like this moon is really igniting our imagination and our visions and our sense of like possibility. And how can we access curiosity, inspiration? We have a bit of like a double message. I feel like the Empress is like this this like other facet of the Nine of Pentacles, and the Empress is so much about rest, relaxation, self-care, self-love. It's ruled by Venus. There's a lot of like Venusian aspects through this full moon, and we're really being asked to root in to this beautiful Venus energy that just moved into Sagittarius. So Venus just changed signs from Scorpio to Sagittarius. And once again, we have that like fire, that expression of fire. The the Empress is so much about like this abundance and prosperity, and that can, look so many different ways. I was really feeling into like the different rituals that might be helpful through this full moon. I feel like any sort of like clearing around communication, around the mind, clearing any fog or confusion, I think would really be very helpful. Any road opening, path clearing rituals, any cord cutting. I feel like cord cutting, and not necessarily to like another person, but to past patterns and cycles. Um, I think even like prosperity or like abundance rituals would be really supportive as well. And rest, just like sacred rest, sacred self-care, um, honoring the body, doing any sort of somatic work, I think would be really supportive because we may have a tendency to get up into the mind, to be caught in the mind. Um, and I think this could be a really supportive moon to like be rooted into the earth, into the body, into, yeah, like the physical realm. And so, there could be also rituals that you do for Venus, like, self-love or, you know, kind of like self-devotion rituals could be really supportive as well. Um, yeah, I hope this was helpful. I will be releasing the ritual guide on the air tier shortly, so look out for that for more suggestions. And I will post this shortly once it's uploaded. I hope everyone has just such a beautiful full moon in Gemini, and I will see you all soon. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.